great for everyone here, and we want the enthusiasm to spread from there. So you can tell all of your friends that don't know what this crazy Quakecon thing is about, or these games that you play, just go give it a try and see what you think. And I think it's going to be neat seeing this new generation of people come into the game, and there's going to be the lore of the people that have been playing the game for 9 years, the graybeards in the games that have the amazing skills that have been honed over that period of time. And it should be fun, and I'm really looking forward to seeing how QuakeCon changes next year as we get the kind of Quake Live period going in, and seeing all the people that may be new to the game or had some passing acquaintance with it before, but can get in and be more serious. We're certainly going to suck up a lot of advertising space on there as the year goes on, promoting QuakeCon and seeing what happens. And this is hope for the best, do what we can, and we're going to see what happens, see what the market decides. Now, on the big gun projects, we've got Rage and we've got Doom coming out. This is obviously where I spend the vast majority of my time. These other projects wind up getting little snippets of my time. I usually go on retreats. It's been a couple times a year lately where I go and lock myself in a hotel room with a dev system and either write a new engine for the mobile, bring something up on the iPhone, optimize the new mobile stuff, write preliminary prototype code for different things. But it doesn't amount to a huge amount of time. It's nice for me that that's some of the highest leverage that I ever get. It's great to be able to go in and say, I did this type of thing 12, 15 years ago, and I know how to do rasterizers. I know how to do this type of stuff, and I've learned a thing or two in the ensuing decade, and I can do a better job now than I could have back then. In fact, it's kind of funny, about the mobile, this generation of the mobile stuff. There was a game which I won't name that was getting some good press and reviews on the mobile space that I downloaded on Brew, looked at it, and I'm like, oh, they're making all of the classic mistakes of rasterizers. And it really brought me back to 14 years ago or so when everybody was figuring out that they could write 3D games on the PC and kind of Doom early Quake time. And there are a whole raft of classic mistakes that you would see, things like off by one errors, clipping errors, errors with cracks between things because the clipping was done backwards one way or another. And there's all sorts of these things. And we used to look at the games back then as we spent a lot of time on the original Quake to try and be perfect. We did not have culling errors, we did not have back-facing epsilon errors, we did not have cracks. And there was a lot of effort that went into this. This was me and Michael Abrash back in the day then. But there were always all the other competing games that we would look at and say, oh, they made that mistake or they made that mistake. And the truth was, not one software developer in 10 could really write a proper rasterizer there. And eventually, hardware accelerators saved everyone from that. You just throw the triangles down, they do the clipping, they do the rasterizing, and now you don't have to worry about that whole set of lore that only people that have done like OpenGL rasterizers that have been working on Mesa or a few other things like that have even known or cared about those things. But so I was looking at that 3D game and I was kind of like, oh, they're making all those mistakes. And why? This is Brew, it should be fast. It's native ARM assembly code. And it was really right after that where I'm like, okay, we need to update we need to go full polygon based on Wolf RPG, and I'm going to do a good job on it. And I only had 2 days one time and 2 days another time. I'm like, okay, try and get a perfect rasterizer. It's that way. And I'm really happy with it. It's one of those things, optimizing for Java is this twisted thing where it's going through an interpreter and you're looking at opcodes and trying to write sort of assembly for an interpreter. And you can get really depressed about it if you spend too much time thinking about it. But it has its own twisted enjoyment to it. But that was fun to go do that. And everything that you've been seeing on Wolf RPG is running in Java right now. It's going to be great when we get to the Brew version and make it several times faster here coming up. But so that's the mobile stuff there. That was always fun to wind up going on that. So my time winds up, I get these little snippets of time, a little bit on mobile, a little bit on future-looking research. Like I got to spend a few days on forward-looking research this year, and I really wanted to spend more time, but there's pressing issues. We have to get Rage all together. We're trying to make it bundle like a game, get all these final things going with it. But I did get to spend a few days working on where we're going in the future, which I'll get into more later, sort of the vision for InTech 6, which isn't too far changed from what it was last year, but we have more information on the hardware, what things are looking like on there. but 90+% of my time is at my desk working on things that pertain to Rage right now, and will roll into Doom. And I am in the kind of fortunate position of, I do get to choose what I work on. I'm the president of the company, although I'm usually, I bill myself as a technical director because that's what I do. Todd does the business deals. He's out talking with the publishers most of the time and all that. I'm not even the lead programmer. Robert Duffy manages our herd of programmers now, and because I'm an engineer, I want to sit there and I want to make things work. I want to build things. And Robert barely gets to spend 25% of his time actually writing any code, because we have this, he commented earlier this year that we now have more programmers in id than we had employees when he started at the company a long time ago. And it's a very different situation now where managing all of that it's a full-time job, just making sure that everybody's working productively on things. And clearly, I've never been a very good people skills person, so I stay. There's the whole saw about people getting promoted just past their point of competence, and I'm trying to avoid that by staying, doing the engineering stuff, and not trying to go be a manager and do a poor job at any of this. So it has been a lot of heads down work on Rage, just everybody trying to finish things up. We have very few things that are really significant left to be done. We're just about to pull the switch on a major change to our animation system that's been a long time coming. We have one significant thing left for the mega texture side of things that still needs to be done, allowing lots of piecemeal things to be put together, which we sort of hacked up in some of the video. Everyone would like to pretend that videos are directly captured from the game, but there's always things that we wind up doing that are set up to enable this, where, like in this case, we had two separate parts of the outside wasteland that were being built separately, and we weren't sure for a long time whether these were going to be combined into one enormous mega texture, or if we had this way to have multiple pieces done separately. And we settled on doing them separately, and things are hacked in right now to allow us to sort of stitch those together and have them both rendered, but that's kind of the last functional piece of all that technology. And it's interesting to look at this, where 3 years ago, I had perfectly good demonstrations of what the technology was going to do. Here's what we think we can accomplish with this. Here's the vision of the mega texture technology here. And here we are, 3 years later, still working on elements of it. And it's easy to look at something and say, well, the fragment program that implements this, it's just a couple of pages of code. The core that runs there isn't all that complicated. It's changed a bunch. We've gone through multiple different implementations there. But the work and the effort is in the infrastructure. It's in allowing a piece of technology to become part of the canvas that the artists and designers work on. And there's all the issues with tool interactivity, back-end processing, and we have things, we've got sort of a render farm for building these textures, and we still have some issues with this as we've gone over different things and communicating with that, and that's going to keep going on for years to come as we go through this project and the Doom project and supporting licensees, different things there. And you do have the days when you're like, we're working on this for 3 years now, even not counting the reboot, where you wish that it could just be over and done with faster. But we are light at the end of the tunnel, going into the home stretch. But of course, home stretch means crunch mode, where the company does finally wind up put a little bit under the thumb screws there, and everybody does wind up putting in the really long hours that game development is renowned for. And that is the reality of the situation where we're going to be going into, got to get this game done. It's still, there's no release date. It'll be done when it's done. We won't push something out sooner, but we don't want to be here. I really don't want to be here 2 Quakecons from now talking about Rage again. We want to get it done sooner than that. And we think that we've built most of the things that need to be done there. And we have the plan for Doom, where we're actively hiring good people now. We get lots of resumes in, but we wind up putting most of the resumes aside that are people that are systems people. And we run across some really smart people that would probably be a good credit to the company, but it's clear that they want to write systems. They want to write something new in rendering, or something new in AI, or something new in animation. And that's not what we want to do with the Doom project. We have capabilities that we are so far from exploiting the capabilities that we built this generation. The next game is going to be that creative time when the designers don't have to worry about the developers breaking everything all the time, wondering when something's going to be done. We're going to have a working set of tools for them to do the most creative work that they can with it. And that